Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Technical Talk. So, we are going to be interviewing Helen Anderson, who runs her very own social media consultancy called Gen Social 20. So, I'm super excited to interview Helen today because we're going to talk about all things social media. We're going to discuss small things that we as authors may be doing wrong, and also learning that it might not be as difficult as what we thought it was, and that maybe professional service is the way that we need to go just to give us a hand. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Well, first of all, thank you for joining me, Helen. How are you today?
My pleasure. Yes. Went into the office today, one day out of five. So that's always a bit exciting to get out amongst the world and go to a coffee shop and get coffee and all that sort of stuff. So you sort of feel like a normal human being again for a second.
That's amazing. And what office is that for? What work do you do?
I'm just working at the moment on contract doing comms for a not-for-profit. So yeah, just doing that at the moment. I was lucky enough to get that just before COVID hit. So very grateful, very grateful.
So my first question is, I want to dive straight into Gen Social. What is it and how was it founded?
Okay, so basically, I have had a bit of a eclectic career. I've worked in radio, publishing, media, government comms for Queensland government, now doing comms for not-for-profit as well. Um, and basically, and also I've done a lot of freelance writing in my own time. With the government jobs, I did a lot of social media management, also helped out a lot of friends with small businesses helping them set up their social media and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, when I was lucky enough to get a voluntary retrenchment last year, I thought, you know what, it's finally time to get out there and start my own business and use the skills that I've got. So even though it might seem like I've had all these different careers, I think the thing that has really connected it all has been the storytelling. Whether it's been radio or whether it's been my editing or freelance writing and doing communication, social media for government and not-for-profit, everything that strings it together is people's stories. That's what I'm about. I'm about engaging with people, resonating with people so that they hear something and they can think, you know what, yeah, that's like me as well. I feel like that too. So that we all know, you know, we're not alone in this world, especially right now, hey?
Yeah, exactly. So really, you know how to make, for whatever company you've previously worked for, you know how to make relatable content. And that's why you decided to go forward with the social media.
Exactly. So, generally speaking, I am a natural networker. Social media has pretty much been my bomb since it started. Like, you know, with Facebook back in 2007, it all came very naturally to me. And I just know with small businesses and authors and people, especially in that baby boomer Gen X sort of generation, they find it very difficult to think about social media. It can make them very stressed when they think about it, because often when you're talking small businesses, authors, you're talking about people that are really passionate about what they're doing, and that's all that they can think about, and that's all that they're about is, you know, how can I you know, make my business better, or how can I edit this book so it's better, how can I sell my book. And then when you get to that business thing of, oh my gosh, how do I sell it now, it's like using a different part of your brain, and I think a lot of people find that really difficult. So what I want to do is build the capacity of people to do it for themselves. I certainly don't want to be you know, creating a lot of content for a lot of different authors and all that sort of thing. What I provide is I will look at the social channels that you have. If you have them, I'll audit them. I'll come back to you with recommendations. If you don't have them, I'll suggest, you know, with the audience you're looking for, what I think which ones you should be going for. I can do some training, give you some tips on, the best sort of tools and software to be using, just to basically make it as easy as possible for you to end up doing it for yourself. Because, that's what we want. We want people to be able to easily do it for themselves. It isn't costing extra money, but they can see that it's actually working.
And I think it's really important too. So I guess it'd be leading a little bit into my next question as to why social media is so important, especially for authors. But it leads into so many things as well, because as you said, you're there basically to guide and to help people into being able to create their own content. And personally, for myself, I consider myself as well educated, I want to say, in social media. So I love reading, the algorithms and, things and what's happening on Instagram, stuff like that. And yet I find that I really lack, I may have that information and the tools, but I really lack in being able to execute it. And it confuses me a little because I'm like, okay, I've done all this research, but I just don't know how to actually make it happen. And I think social media is super important for authors because it's another way of marketing. But as you said, it's a way to provide for your voice, to get your voice out, to get your content, your products out, and telling a story. So would you add anything to that as to why this is so important for authors to get on social media in a professional manner as well?
Well, particularly for authors, because it's not just about your book, it's about you as the author, isn't it? That's what social media is all about. It's about putting yourself out there and people engaging with you as a person, and then thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe they might have something I have to say. But I mean, generally in a big picture way, I think it's something like half of the world's population is using Facebook. That's probably gone up again since the pandemic, no doubt. People have more time on their hands. So it really is just another way of getting your book in front of the audience that you want it to get in front of. That's the beautiful thing about social media, is that you can be very targeted. You can get down to the location of the people you want to target. You can get down to the people that like books like you, male, female, age. You can target all the demographics. You can target people that perhaps you've got a database of people that have bought your books in the past online. You can find through Facebook what's called a lookalike audience, which is an audience that pretty much looks exactly like the people that have already bought your book. So, they're most likely going to buy your book. So there are so many lots of tips. And I think what you've said previously, it can be a bit confusing for authors to get into. And I think if you have that initial help to set it all up, explain how it all works, have a strategy as well, then that can set you up to, hopefully sell some books in the future.
And I think too, so this will go beautifully into my next question. I want to talk about the different platforms, because obviously social media, there are so many different types. You've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What's the new one at the moment where everyone's dancing?
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. And even I found myself almost, nothing against those who love TikTok, I found myself considering it because I was like, oh, this is where, everyone's going, got to be on this platform. But then it's a little reminder too that we really have to niche down, because not every platform is going to be good for us, and there's no point in putting 20% on each platform. You should be focusing 50% maybe on two at max. So obviously that's a bit of trial and error to see which platform you want to engage on most, but I'm curious as to what platforms you would usually recommend for authors and your top 3 tips of using that.
Well, I think something that we use in marketing is called personas. So I think it's really important as an author to sit down and really think about who is it that's going to read your book. Really think about that person. There might be a couple of different types of people that you imagine would read your book. So you're in the YA category, I know, Kia. So obviously, young adults would be a target for you, but also 40 plus women. I love YA, and I'm a 40 plus woman, and And so that would be an audience as well. So if you take the time to actually think about, who it is that's actually going to read your book, then you're able to target that person a lot easier. So that would be a big tip, to really sit down and consider, okay, who am I really talking to here? Who do I want to engage with? Who is going to buy my book? And that will really help you with your content and with what channels you're going to use. I mean, generally speaking, you have to be on Facebook. It's just a given. Facebook has bought Instagram. They've bought WhatsApp. Facebook just launched yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, Facebook Shops, which is a new thing you'll be hearing a lot about in the coming months. It's something apparently they've been working on for quite some time. And then once COVID hit, they basically just escalated it so they could get it out as soon as possible. So basically the idea is anybody with a Facebook business page or an Instagram profile can basically set up their page like a little shop. So you could put all your books up there. You could have a little button that says, shop now, click through, and goes to whatever platform you use for your payment gateway to go through and pay it. So it's trying to make it a lot easier for authors, small businesses, to set up their pages so that you can shop in the one area rather than having to go to a website and socials and over here at Amazon and over there and over. So it's basically trying to get you just on that one platform.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know Facebook had brought that out.
It literally I still have to get my head around it myself, but it was announced by Mark Zuckerberg. It was either yesterday or the day before. So it's just come out, Facebook Shops. And basically anyone, it's free, it's a tool. They'll have they're talking about, down the track using augmented reality, so that if you want to buy some glasses or lipstick, you can basically try it on in the app and see what it looks like. And so that's the sort of technology they're looking to use down the track. So yeah, it's a whole new world.
And are there any other platforms that you would recommend? Obviously, there's the big ones. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter are usually the bigger ones. Are there any other platforms that come to mind for you that you would recommend for authors, or would you probably say stick to those three?
Well, actually, to be honest, I wouldn't recommend Twitter. It's a very small following when you look at it compared to Facebook, etc. It's generally, unless you're very political and unless or a celebrity, it's very hard to get sort of traction on Twitter, and I don't know how it would go at selling books. Having everything on Amazon, I think is, they have the Author Central profile. It's all free. You can advertise through Amazon as well. You can put all your series of books there. The same with Goodreads. You can do reviews through that as well, reviewing other books. That helps with your positioning on Goodreads as well. So for authors, I would be suggesting make sure your profile and everything is up to speed on Amazon, Goodreads, and Facebook and Instagram. And, depending what sort of books you're doing, if you're doing business books, then LinkedIn is a good one, depending on what your demographic is or what your audience is. But if you're doing that sort of business book, that would possibly be an idea as well, LinkedIn. But yeah, Facebook and Instagram are definitely the two big ones. And with advertising, like I was saying before with my consultancy, I'm looking to help people to be able to do their organic content for themselves. But with advertising, it can get quite complicated, and that is an area that I'd always suggest that you engage somebody else to do for you, because it can be very difficult to understand. And then the beautiful thing about it is you don't have to spend much. You can test and measure all the way along. So if something isn't working, you can change it. And that is something that professionals will be able to do a lot easier for you than yourself. And you can usually you could do something as little as $50 a week if you wanted to. And the way Facebook and the algorithms are now, you really do have to put in some advertising for Facebook to put you in front of who you want to be put in front of, basically.
And do your services offer that, or do you have recommendations for freelancers outside?
Oh yeah, no, I do advertising as well, so I can do that as part of your package. And yeah, and just give you, as I said, it's all about testing and measuring. So we just try different images, different audiences. Yeah, there's a lot of different tactics you can use to just test and measure the whole way.
What do you think the biggest common mistake is made by small businesses, or by extension by authors, that they make on social media that you see more than one person make the same fault on?
Yeah, thinking they have to be on every channel, like you were saying, and more than that, putting the same content on every channel. You know, the thing about small businesses and authors, well, all of us, we're time poor. So the thing is, the easiest or the most effective thing to do for content is to batch your content. So we're doing a video like this now. So from this video, I would potentially, if I can get a copy of it from you, I would be potentially looking at cutting out little snippets and using, bits on stories, bits on Instagram stories, Facebook stories, bits in my news feed, bits on YouTube. So I'd be using it in different ways across different channels. And I can't believe I forgot to mention YouTube. Oh my God. Once again, that would be one of my top three. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. They're the musts, definitely.
And why would you say YouTube? Only because like Facebook and Instagram are very visual, like with photos, especially Instagram, books are a visual item. So people love beautiful photos of it. Whereas YouTube is, I want to say, somewhat more interactive because it's video, the person live and in presence. So why would you suggest YouTube as your top three?
Because that is still one of the biggest, it's one of the biggest channels in the world. It still gets the most traffic through. And actually that's the same with Facebook and Instagram. Video is still the content that gets the most engagement. So even though YouTube has been around for ages and you think, oh, well, maybe it's old or whatever, it still has the numbers there. It still has the traffic. So it is a very good channel to keep happening there as well. And you can do, you can share from your YouTube channel onto Facebook, all that sort of stuff. So, you can do it, use it across different channels in different ways as well. So, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I feel like I'm doing something right now.
Sorry, I can't believe I could say here we are doing a YouTube video. I can't believe we forgot to mention it. Oh my goodness.
Like, I'm failing here. I'm like, no, I'm kidding. So there's something that really confuses me, and at the moment I've been with all this time that we have at the moment, I've been very focused on my social medias, and I'm obviously very overwhelmed about, I should be trying to get content out every day, but it needs to be valuable content. What's going to be engaging? I need to find a program to batch that out. So, in an ideal world, I would love to hop on for a day and organize for the entire month. And then I realize how many different programs and how many different websites for, say, $10 a month, for example, you can have that, and then you can organize your own content, batch it out for the next month. So I'm curious as to what ones you would recommend, if you would recommend any of them, because there are so many out there that just do the automatic replies or just say post on your behalf, or even there's ones for getting the best Instagram hashtags, because you can post up to 30 hashtags per post. So what would you recommend out of all those, if any?
I think a really good scheduling tool, and it's free, that you can use, I think it's up to maybe 3 or 4 social channels, is called Hootsuite. I think you can only have 1 or 2 users doing it, but if you're doing it yourself for your books, then it's no problem. And you use it across Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever. But with Facebook, the way the algorithms are set, it's always better to schedule directly into the app, into Facebook, because actually it will go against you if you don't. So if you use one of those scheduling tools to schedule Facebook, yeah, they once again will just put you down the list. So yeah, definitely always schedule within Facebook, the app. Unfortunately, that's just the way Facebook is set up. But with all your other social channels, I think Hootsuite is a really good starter one. It's a bit clunky, but it's pretty user friendly. I think you can get a small amount of analytics with it as well. And yeah, it's a good starter. It doesn't cost anything. So yeah, that's probably what I would recommend to start off. And doing your monthly planner, you know, yeah, as you said, it'd be great to sit down and smash it all out and schedule everything. But really, the most important thing is to, try and come up with content that is going to mean something to your audience. So if you're just doing content for content's sake, it's just not going to resonate. It's not going to work. So your planner you can easily do in whatever format works for you, whether it's a Word doc, setting it out as a table, putting it in an Excel spreadsheet, doing a Google Doc, whatever works for you, whatever you're comfortable with, but just mapping it out. And, if daily is too much for you, just start off doing 2 or 3 times a week, just start small, just start with something that you can, commit to. And it's always good to sprinkle a lot of different information. So not just always bombarding with, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. You know what you like to see on social media. So, follow those authors that you love on the social media, see what they're doing, and really, give some variety. Do those lifestyle ones where you're sitting at home with your cat writing and got your cup of coffee going, yep, here I am for another day writing. And then along with some, positive attitude quotes, you could do testimonials, like with a reader that's loved one of your books and emailed you or messaged you. Just screenshot it, make it nice and easy. You don't have to put it in a nice little format or anything. Just screenshot that message and say, isn't that lovely? I got this nice message from a reader. So really try and mix it up, but try and make it as easy as possible for yourself. I know that's a bit confusing, but yeah, that is, I think if you can try and make it as easy as possible, and try not to commit too much at the start. If you can only do once a week, that's fine. Just start off with once a week, but just try and get into that rhythm and that routine.
And that's beautiful, because we talk a lot on this channel about branding, and social media very much is branding. And so we notice for a lot of startup authors, they do post a buy my books, buy this, buy that. And the thing is you'll very quickly soon learn is that you are your brand as well. People want to know who you are. They want to know what your personality is. As you said, what your cat looks like, what kind of coffee do you drink? Those are the things that they can relate to. They can relate to your book if they love it, but they want to know how they connect with you. So it is very important to be posting those. And I love actually when you just said before that we should just take a screenshot of the message, because usually you're like, oh, okay, I need to make this look professional or pretty, but then you could easily just tag that person, the person that posted, and they're going to feel great that day thinking, oh my goodness, my favorite authors just tagged me in this post. And yeah, I really like that. I never even thought of doing that. That's lovely.
Exactly. And free. People love free. Yeah. So if you can give away free chapters or free books or whatever it is, people love free. You could do a little bit of, you could do a reading on YouTube, a little storytelling for yourself. But yeah, just anything that you can think of where you can offer them free information, free tips. Even if you want to do tips as being an author, what gets you motivated in the morning, that sort of thing. People really relate to that.
What have you found to be the most surprising thing within the industry?
I think just the scared factor. So many people get so worked up about social media, and they get so anxious about it and scared about it, and they just get this block. And then once you start talking to them and showing them and sharing with them, I just love that click moment when it's just like, oh, okay, it's not as scary as I thought. And now you put it that way, I guess I don't have to, I guess I don't have to post every day, do I? And, I don't have to be thinking about it all the time. And yeah, just that moment, that comfortability when they realize, okay, this is just another way for me to try and connect to my community, to try and connect to my audience. And, there's many different ways I can do it, and I just need to relax and find the best way for me.
So I wanna talk about the nitty gritty. So let's talk price tag, because I know a lot of authors are apprehensive and they won't even ask the question because they think, oh, it's going to cost me too much, or I can do this on my own. Whereas I think it's very important to actually consider a professional, even such as yourself, even just to help you get a head start. So I was wondering if you could briefly explain to us so for example, we'll use your services as an example. If I come to you, and what would your recommendations be? Oh, hello, Kitty. I've got mine behind the computer here. What would your recommendations be, and how much roughly do you think an author may be charged for those services and what it offers?
Oh, that's a hard one. Yeah, it really depends on how savvy they are, how social media savvy they are, and how much help is required. As I said, I don't particularly want to get into the content creation except when it's around advertising. But generally speaking, I charge $80 an hour, but I will do the consultation first off for free, and then I get a sense of what the person needs, and then I could do a quote. Now, advertising is a bit separate. They need to work out what budget they want to do. And then something like that, if I was doing, say I was doing like a 3-week advertising campaign for somebody leading up to the launch of their book at Mary Ryan's or somewhere in Brisbane. If I was doing like a 3-week advertising campaign for them, just spending $50 a week, something like that, I would probably charge maybe 3 or 4 hours worth of work, not even much more than that. So that would just be their $50 a week, and then 3 by 80 or whatever for me, or three or four hours, depending on how much reporting I was doing as well, and how much time I had to spend, if they had images and videos already, or if I had to create something for them, that sort of thing. So it can be, it can be really cost effective. I mean, once you start going to the big agencies, that's when it can get really expensive. But if you find those smaller consultancies, and especially now people are competitive and they just want to work, so I'm sure you can come up with some good deals, basically.
And I think the thing to consider as well is that some people might say, oh, that seems expensive, but I can do it on my own. But also, especially when you get into ads, and I can say this from personal experience, when I first started doing marketing and that, I threw a lot of hundreds and thousands of dollars away because I did not know how to market. I did not know how to do copies. I did not know how to do ads. And I would have saved myself a lot of money if I'd initially just bitten the bullet and gone to a professional, instead of thinking I can do this on my own, and find out the hard way, the financial way, that I couldn't. So I think 3 to 4 hours for example, would have guided and very much pinpointed the target audience I was after. So I think it's very effective.
And can another tip as well, sometimes you'll have your news feed happening, and you'll see something come up from Facebook with an image that they've already taken from one of your posts, and just said, oh, boost this post, you'll reach 20,000 people, just spend $30. Can I give you a tip to never ever do that? Because that is just a waste of money. You can't basically target any demographics with it, and it could go anywhere, really. So just never do the boost post. If that comes up, it looks too easy. It comes up and just says, oh yeah, just press this button, and you'll get to 20,000 people. And it's like, yeah, but it's 20,000 people in Bangladesh. So not necessarily your audience. So if I could give one tip, please do not do the boost post.
Just be smart about it.
Yeah.
Make sure you're targeting.
Well, it's just so easy. It just always annoys me because, Facebook make it look so easy. Like, oh yeah, just press this button and you'll get all this, this um, reach. And it's like, it's not necessary. It's not about the reach anymore. It's now about that engagement. How many people are clicking on your link? How many people are commenting and reacting to it, not just liking it? Those are the measures that show you if a post is working or not.
And I think too, a lot of, it seems like a very self-explanatory thing to do, but a lot of authors forget that, it's great that you may get the validation of likes, but at the end of the day, if you're spending a lot of money and then only 1 or 2 people are buying that book, then you're not exactly targeting the right thing here, because at the end of the day, you want them to know who you are and your personality, but that's a point of you coming back to your social medias. But the things that you should really be boosting are your product that are going to bring you the money back, so then you can continually afford those ads to continue.
And the thing is, the way the algorithms are set up with Facebook and Instagram now, you're probably aware, I don't know if it was a while ago now, 18 months, maybe 2 years ago, that you can't see your likes and everything on Instagram, like who's liking your posts and all that sort of stuff. That's because they're both driving it towards engagement. It's only going to be measured successfully if you're getting people to comment. They want you to build a community. So they want you to have people commenting and reacting to what you're putting on there, not just liking it. So, yeah.
What tips would you recommend for, say, anyone who's out there who is on the other side and they want to start up or see if they can do what you can do, for example? If they want to start their own small consultancy or little business, what would you recommend for them to trial or start before? Like, how would they go about that?
I would highly recommend having a client base in the first place, and having your side hustle. So if you're working full time, then basically have your side hustle, do your freelance, so that you're drumming up that client base before you go out and get your business started. That's been my biggest learning, big time, with this. And also, just to blow my own trumpet, something I realized when I started this business, I was, because I had done I came straight from social media management, that seemed like the good fit to me. But I've since realized, since I've been working on the business, I have quite a lot of years of experience writing blog articles, doing newsletters, a lot of different, writing media releases, doing all of these different things that I was not thinking of when I did the consultancy. So now I'm branching out a little bit with different clients and doing the blog articles and the newsletters and looking at doing that as packages. Like, I've got one client coming up where I'm putting a blog article and a newsletter article in the package that I'm doing for her. So so definitely, as much as I'm doing the social media, there's also marketing around it as well. So definitely open to telling your story in different channels as well.
Amazing. Well, let's get straight to the most important question. If we want to use your services, or if we would like to engage with you, how and where do we go?
I am currently on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And my tag on all of those is Gen Social, GEN Social 20. So that is my tag on all of them. Gen Social, the idea of it is we have Generation X, Y, and Z, and we definitely have Generation Social. So Gen Social with a G. That's how my business name came up. And Gen Social for 2020. So,
and what can we expect to? So if we send you an email, what will be the first couple of steps, just so we know what to anticipate?
There's a couple of messages on my automated messages on my messenger, so that will just ask you, what exactly you're looking for, and then I'll contact you straight away. Usually move on to email. and have a chat on email, and then get a phone number and have a bit of a consultation. Usually I'd like to meet, but yeah, it's all been sort of virtual these days. So we can do a Zoom. I've done Zoom meetings as well. So whatever channel you're comfortable with, it's all good to have it. And we might need a couple of consultations. And to be honest, I just don't charge for those. I'd much rather get a good sense of what it is you need, so that we can come up with something that's going to be sustainable for you.
Do you have anything else you want to add, or anything upcoming for yourself or business, or the floor is yours?
No, I just think don't be too hard on yourselves. It's a really, really hard time at the moment. Everybody is finding it really difficult to connect. Social media is awesome for connection, but definitely do it at your own pace and what you're comfortable with. And as Kia's been saying, it's definitely better to get that professional, certainly up front, to show you all the tips and the tricks, so that you can, do it for yourself, and keep writing, keep putting it out there.
Well, that's all my questions. I'm super excited, and I hope this helps everyone out there. So thank you so much for hopping on, Helen. It's been a treat.
No worries. Awesome. Nice to talk to you.
Likewise. Well, I'm going to love you and leave you, so have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye.